Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Disc Review. This week is going to be a little different. Normally we do a track-by-track deep dive into an album of our choosing, but today we actually have a really cool interview with Daniel Richards from the band Alt. We are so excited about this. We've never done an interview with anyone before, but we would like to do more of them, and we had a lot of fun. Daniel is a super awesome guy. He's so kind, and he really opened up to us in this interview. So if you haven't heard of the band Alt, we're going to link them in the description, but please go check them out, give them some love, listen to their songs. A little disclaimer here, the audio is kind of rough throughout this video. We wanted to record it a little smoother, but the stars did not align, and we had to use the audio from the Zoom call, and so we apologize about that, but we hope you can enjoy it regardless. Lastly, I just wanted to encourage everyone to please like and subscribe. We are a small YouTube channel and we are just trying to get up on our feet here, and we really appreciate any help we can get. So please enjoy and consider sticking around. Here's the interview with Daniel Richards. Let's get started by talking about your band. So you're the lead singer of the band Alt.
Yeah, that's it.
So tell us a little bit about that. How'd you guys get started?
So we used to be a band called After Change, and then pretty much we had been doing that for about 4 years or so, had a lot of member changes. I was then the only original member left. Wasn't super stoked on the style that we were doing anymore, so wanted to try and do something a little bit different. So we all decided to rebrand, start a new name, sort of leave that old band behind. And that's how Alt started.
Nice. And how long has that been going for?
So we released our first song in December of 2019, but we recorded those songs, I think, about July 2019, and probably started writing for it at the start of that year. So it's probably been, probably since the start of 2019 was when we decided to do all that, and publicly became the band as of December 2019. And obviously COVID had other plans for us when we released the EP in April of 2020, and then we were in lockdown as of April of 2020.
Yeah, that's got to be a bummer. But I mean, it looks like it's worked out for you. You guys seem to be growing, and relatively speaking, it hasn't been that long. And so I'd say that's pretty awesome for you guys.
Yeah, no, like we can't complain. Like as much as, COVID has been a bit of a bummer, like who would have known if it didn't happen? So we just kind of try to make the best of a bad situation and kind of roll from it from there.
Yeah. So what got you into music originally?
I've been singing since I was like 3 years old. So I've always had a passion for music. But my first love for music was Michael Jackson when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I think that really sort of spurred me into, I guess like loving music. I'd watch all these music videos, like learn all the dance moves, all the words and sing along. But then I guess it wasn't until I was in primary school and got into Linkin Park was it that I started to really sort of get into heavier music. I feel like Linkin Park is a gateway band for a lot of people, and they were definitely mine.
That's exactly what happened with me. I started listening to Linkin Park, and then it was just a slippery slope to death metal. So
yeah, that's it. I think that's pretty much one of the only ways to do it when you're in our age group.
Yeah. Well, let's start talking about your record, Dysfunctional. The first song is Insubordinate. So tell us a little bit about what that song's all about and how it came to be.
Yeah, so we actually worked on this song with a guy called Chris Lalick from a band called Wind Waker. So we decided to do some pre-production, and this song was sort of born from that. The song is really just about, at that time here in Australia, we had massive fires going on around the whole country, like practically, not even kidding, like the whole country was pretty much on fire. And there was just other sort of little things, and I just didn't really like how our government was handling everything. And so it was kind of just like a cry out to me being like, people need to realize that they're not doing the right thing by us. And it's going to come to a point where we eventually have to be like, you're not doing the right thing. We need to do something about this. And I guess that's just what that song was about. It was me just being really annoyed at how our government was handling a tough time for us. And obviously that was before COVID. And so it's like, yeah, it's almost like continued on from there, I guess.
I first started listening to you guys. I heard about you through a post from Landon Tours saying that he was working on a song with you guys. And so I threw on Dysfunctional and played Insubordinate. And I remember, you know, when you're trying out a new band, you're kind of waiting for that one moment that really grabs you. And the breakdown, the heavy breakdown, like as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, this band is legit. I like that.
Cheers. It's definitely translated that way. We didn't think it was going to be that song. Chasing Safety kind of kicked out the gates pretty quickly, but as a sustainability, like Insubordinate has just been that one that's just kept going, and it's kind of shows that on like Spotify and stuff like that, that's still the song that people are going back to. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, we can move on to Pariah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that song, it sort of originally spurred from, I came up with like a verse for that song, like instrumentally, and then we just sort of built on it, and then sort of just like it ended up just continuing to grow into what it is. So that song, yeah, was like pretty much close to one of the most manifested just within the band songs on the EP. But that song lyrically came about when my uncle died. It was kind of just not really like a pleasant way that he sort of went. And I've kind of, for a lot of my life, considered myself of Christian belief. But I guess I was going through like a moment where I wasn't too sure of what I felt about it. And his passing made me think about it a lot. And it made me think, hey, is this like, what does happen? I just don't know, what's going on. And like, why would certain things happen if God was real? So it's kind of just me trying to come to terms with what do I actually believe in, and that's what that song's about.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear about that, though. That's sad, but it definitely adds a new layer to the song for sure.
Yeah, I'm still like in that same frame of mind. Nothing's changed.
Well, thank you. Let's move on to the next song, which is S.A.D.
Yeah, S.A.D. So that song this song is pretty much what pinpointed me to like name the EP Dysfunctional. A lot of the songs are a little bit chaotic in the way that I'm thinking or feeling at the certain time. So I was going through sort of like a rough sort of like breakup with an ex, but also starting a relationship with my now wife. It was just really difficult because I was trying to start something when I was trying to like finalize a chapter because I had all these assets with my ex and trying to split them apart. So S.A.D actually stands for separation anxiety disorder, and it was just me trying to be with someone that I couldn't quite fully be with yet, like mentally. And that's what that song's about.
Yeah, I figured that it stood for something, the way that it was kind of spelled out. And I was like looking for a place in the song, but that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, so it's one of the harder ones to sort of describe what it's about because it was just such a chaotic time that I wrote portions of that song lyrically in different parts. So it gels, but it's a bit bit all over the place at the same time, but I think that adds to its character. So
Yeah. Anyways, Chasing Safety.
yeah, so that song again was like something that we'd worked with Chris Lalick from Wind Waker, and that was a song that we were going to cut just because for the chorus I was just finding it really difficult to put vocals to it. It's quite a strange chorus, and then we worked with Zachary Britt from Young Lions and Dream on Dreamer, and he really helped us piece that chorus together. Working with him, just kind of throwing ideas backwards and forward, and yeah, it ended up being that song that's kind of like a weird, wacky song that everyone grabbed onto, which was To Begin With, which kind of started that trajectory for us, which was really cool. But lyrically, that one is about trying to help someone who's very dear to me out of an abusive relationship, and trying to help them guide their way out of that, telling them you're not alone, you've got all these people that you can lean on, all these people that are going to help you out of this difficult position. You need to get out of there, is really what that song's about. And I feel like that's resonated with a lot of people, obviously, who aren't in great situations. So yeah, that's something that we really try and push towards, is get yourself out, reach out to people who are going to be able to be there for you and support you through that.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't cut it. That's probably my favorite on the record.
Yeah, we couldn't not put that breakdown out. We like it too much, so we're just we have to make this work. So we just went that extra mile to try and get it there.
The next song is Nothing Without You, and that song kind of takes a different approach tonally. It's a little slower, a little sadder sounding. So what can you share with us about that one?
Yeah, so that song is the only song on the EP that I wrote entirely. It's probably seems that way because it's very simplistic, but sometimes that works. So I remember when I was piecing it together, it just the guys weren't really vibing it too much when it was in its early stages. I was like, just give me a bit. I just need to figure it out. But when it got there, it really sort of got there. And I worked with Trenton from Hands Like Houses on the track as well, vocally. I pretty much had the whole idea, and he was really stoked with it, but he was the one that sort of brought that bridge just up a bit and created a little bit more oomph in the bridge, which I'm glad that he got his hands on it just to do that part, just to bring that up. But yeah, so that was so that one's a bit of a personal sort of close one for me, so I have a bit of an attachment to that one. But lyrically, that one is pretty, I guess, self-explanatory. In the lyrics, it was when I realized that my relationship with my ex needed to end, and then having that conversation with her, and then being told that she was nothing without me, that her life revolved around me, but it didn't feel like that ever in any point of the relationship. It was quite a toxic relationship, and I didn't feel like I felt like I just could just not be there, and it wouldn't matter, wouldn't make a difference. And so that's what that song's about.
I love the addition to the record. I think that every good record needs ups and downs, and that's exactly what that provided. It gave us that deep dive into your brain, and then you kind of go back up as it finishes off.
Yeah, no, awesome. I'm glad it has its place.
Yeah, for sure.
Next song is Smoke Signals. What do you have to say about that?
That was the third and last song that we sort of worked on with Chris. That one, we wanted to have something that was a little bit riffier, something that was a bit more sort of driving in that way. And then when I was writing vocals for it, it just came across as something that I could add a little bit of pop sort of vocal flair into, just to give it a little bit of point of difference. That song lyrically is, I guess, just being in a relationship, sending out signals. So in this case, like smoke signals, just to be like, look, these are the issues I'm having. This is what is not working for us. Like, and just kind of putting that out there and not really them not being seen and not being heard. So you just kind of feel like you're outside making smoke signals for someone who's just like living a cozy life inside, not looking out the window to see that you are reaching out. But that's pretty much what that song sort of is about. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one because it is kind of in that like sort of back half of the EP. I feel like it does get sort of looked over a little bit, doesn't get listened to as much. But yeah, I feel like it serves its purpose though.
Yeah, the way songs are ordered in an EP or an album, it's so hard to figure out what goes where sometimes, because you know that some places don't get as much, play through. So
Yeah.
you definitely find songs that get slept on because of that.
Oh, definitely. And I feel like sometimes some of the best ones come towards the end, but you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Well, speaking of placement, the last song is Affinity. That's the closer, and we're pretty big on having a good closer to finish off the album, and I think that this one lands pretty well.
It couldn't be put anywhere else on the EP. There's no way that could be the first song or the fourth song. Like, it had to be the song that was written at the end. It's really strange because that song is the only song we just wrote it at band practice. Someone just started playing like some bits on guitar, and then Declan was just sort of like feeling it out on drums, and I was just singing random words over the top of what they were playing. And then I was kind of just like getting them to stop and start. I'm like, all right, in this next part, you need to do this, and we need to build this part up here, and we need to, and we're just kind of just working it out. And then by the end of the practice, we kind of had like a loose song. Simon just grabbed that, went home and re-recorded everything, sent it back to me. Then I just put vocals over the top, and we were like, this is a pretty like epic song. We're like, it's just kind of like, we're like, there's no, like, this is it. This is like the last song on the EP. So we were just, yeah, pretty stoked with like how it sort of came out, and we just wanted it to have that real big sort of sound. And I love songs that sort of like climb, and I feel like that song does. Lyrically, it's like an ode to my wife. It's like, yeah, when we're in that time of trying to start up our relationship, and I had to tie up some knots in the old one in regards to like the house and stuff like that. It was very much me being like, yes, like I want to be with you, and I want to do this, I want to do that. And pretty much just at that stage, like I knew that I'd found the person that I was meant to be with. And really that's what that song's about. And then me just being like, I'm not going to let you go. You're the, like, whatever happens, like, this is it sort of thing. And that's what that song's about. But yeah, like, I guess closing thoughts on like the EP. One thing that I did leave out was S.A.D was actually the song that we wrote first for the EP. And that was pretty much the reason why we also decided to rebrand. So that song was like actually a big part of Alt Start. So even in our final show as After Change, when we played our last show, we played that song as like an encore, and no one knew what it was, and we just deliberately did that just so we just feel like there is new music, and just left it as that, which was kind of cool. But no, super stoked with how that whole EP has been received, and I wouldn't change anything about it because obviously people have found something in it that they like, and we are working on new stuff, and I really hope that people will carry over and like that as well.
I think that it's super solid, a very solid entry, especially for a new band, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to doing it, and obviously like Devil's Cut was just sort of like not like a teaser, because I guess the reason why we put that one out as like a standalone single was because it felt like it could have gone on Dysfunctional, but we don't feel like it was quite in the realm like sonically as the new music, so we felt like it would feel out of place on the next EP, as well as doing some sort of stepping stone off Dysfunctional, but it could have made it onto that EP if we had it then. And yeah, that was obviously one of the tracks that we've worked on with Landon Tours, which turned out pretty cool.
How much of the recording or writing process have you completed for the next EP?
It's we haven't recorded yet, but we've got pretty much everything ready to go to record, and we'll be looking at heading into the studio quite soon. So yeah, we're hoping to have that out in the not too distant future, but any release takes time. There's lots of things you got to do to plan for it and get it out. So we might be recording soon, but the EP might not be out or I guess I've spilled the beans. It's an EP now, but the EP will be out at some stage.
Obviously, you never want to rush anything like that because you'll end up hating it. So you got to just take your time and make it exactly the way that you want it to be.
Which is also weird because some of these songs have been written for like over a year. So we've had songs for like one of the songs is nearly going on 2 years now since we wrote it. So it's just, it feels like it's being rushed, but at the same time, some of the stuff we've had forever, and it's just like waiting to eventually someone outside of the band to hear it.
Yeah, it seems like songs like that can almost, start to get old for you, even though you haven't put it out. But once that comes out, everyone is stoked on it.
It's one of those things where you just have to, I feel like you get excited about it again when you're about to release it. But now all these songs are just like, yeah, it's like old to me now. It's weird, but yeah.
We'll be looking forward to listening to those, and maybe we'll even have to have you on again and talk about them once they come out. But thank you so much for giving us your time. I know you're a super busy man, and we really appreciate you.
Yeah,
no, thank you again. Always love talking about what these songs mean, because a lot of the time when you're in like those newer bands, people like to just sort of have a chat, but no one wants to dive in as deep. So yeah, thanks for letting me talk about what all those songs mean to us, I guess. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and hopefully people who like your music can see this and learn more about it and then have a deeper connection with it for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely be letting people know about it so they can give it a listen. So thanks again, boys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was so nice getting to know you. Have a nice day, man.
You too. Get some sleep.
Yeah. All right, see ya.